Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I am Caitlin Rose. In today's video I'm going to do like a reading challenge, but I was thinking about Taylor Swift albums slash eras and what kind of like book genre or book trope each era would be, and I thought it could make a cool video. It's most likely going to be a two-part video because obviously there is a lot of eras and that means a lot of books to read, and reading books obviously takes time, and so I want to make sure that it's done as well as possible. But I made a little book challenge thing in my book journal of each era and what book slash book trope I thought they would be. So I'm going to choose a book for each one, and then once I've read the book I'm going to choose a song from that era that best suits the book. So obviously the first era is debut or Taylor Swift, but we, the Swifties, know it as debut because it's just what we call it. And I wrote the kind of trope that I associate it with because obviously it is her first album that has songs that she wrote when she was like 12 years old. It just makes me think of like youth and childhood. So the trope I wrote down was childhood friends to lovers, which is a trope I don't actually read that much. So I'm gonna go downstairs to my office with my laptop and look on the place where I always typically look for my books if I don't know what to read, which is Goodreads, and I'm going to see what the top rated books for said trope is, and then I'll choose a book from there and we'll get to reading it. So I just had a look on Goodreads, and the book that I've chosen for debut is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I'm not sure if it's childhood friends to lovers, but it does mention friends to lovers in there, and I think it's pretty much the closest we're going to get to the actual trope that I chose, so that's the book I've chosen. It's really sunny outside, so I'm going to go out there and tan for a bit while I read. I got about 3 chapters into the book and then my iPad died because I forgot to charge it. But it's been charging for a few hours. It's like 50-something% charged now, which should be enough for me to tan and then go up and cook dinner for me and my family. So I'm going to tan, read, and then probably shower, then cook dinner. But yeah, let's see how much further I can get into the book. officially have 15% left of the book, which is 25 minutes of reading. I'm enjoying the book. The entire plot and storyline of it is really interesting. The only thing is that the main characters, like the boy and girl in the book, are like 8 years old, and so it feels strange to read about characters that are so young as the main characters of the book, because I'm used to reading about like people that are my own age, I'm 20, or people that are either slightly younger or slightly like older than that, and so it just feels strange to me to read about characters that are so young. But the actual plot of the book is really, really interesting, and there's a few plot twists that have happened, and I feel like there's going to be more plot twists towards the end. Like right now I'm still like 85% into the book. I'm still like struggling to actually like tell for myself who the good and bad people are, because they're both trying to convince him of like the young boy of one thing or the other, and I don't know which one to believe. But the actual plot of the book is really good. I am really enjoying it. I feel like it would fit more with a different album than Debut based on the plot of the book, but I'm gonna try and match it as close to one of the songs from Debut as possible. But once I've decided which one to match it with, when I've finished the book, I'll explain why. But I've also been highlighting a lot on the Kindle of different quotes. Like I have an entire thing of quotes here, and so I think I might read some of my favourite ones. There was one that I resonated with, which was like literally page 11 of the book, and I added a note next to it that literally said me, which is, when he read, it was as if he were transported to some dreamland where he could not hear whispers or shouting. Like, there was another one which is, books fascinated him, and the effect that letters had on his eyes was much like the thrill of tickle bugs on his skin, which both of them really resonated with me, just because it's books, and books is like such a escapism for me. What else? There was a couple of other ones. There was one that was his mind took off as if it were an arrow launched from a bow, which I thought was a really cute, not cute, but like cool metaphor. There was one that really hit hard, which was, the reason most people don't arrive at a destination is they never embark. They think of all the reasons why they can't do it, so they don't even try. And like, these are just a few, like there's so many more after that, but they're just a few of my favourite ones from the earlier part of the book. I'm about to start chapter 33, and I think there's like 30, I want to say there's nearly 40 chapters in the book. So yeah, some chapters are definitely shorter than others. Like some say it's going to take me like 8 minutes to read, and other ones are 3 minutes. So I'm going to finish the book, and it's currently, what time is it? It's 9:30. So I'll finish it, and then I'll probably go upstairs because I've changed into my pyjamas, and then I'll either give my review when I go upstairs, or I'll do it tomorrow when I'm picking up the book for the next album, which is Fearless. Yeah, I don't really think I have that much more to say. I finished The Queen's Poisoner last night, The last 2 chapters were so good. They were slightly sad as well. The rating I'm giving it is a 3.5 stars out of 5, just because, one, it felt very weird to read about such a young character, but the actual writing and the metaphors and the descriptions in the book were really good, but for my own personal taste it just didn't match very well. The little side story of the, like, I don't want to say romance because they were kids, it wasn't childhood friends to lovers in the sense of like they were kids and then they grew up to be in a relationship. It was more, there was something there when they were kids and they stayed kids throughout the entire book. The song from Debut that I think most correlates to The Queen's Poisoner is probably A Place in This World, because of the main character Owen. Like, he's this young kid that is trying to navigate like who he is and where he wants to be and what he needs to do, and he's unsure, he doesn't know who to trust, who not to trust, what to believe. And so that's the song I think best describes the book. Now I'm going to move on to the next era, which is Fearless. And for Fearless, the trope or book type that I chose was a modern fairy tale, which I don't think I've read a lot of. So I'm going to have a look on Goodreads and also have a look on TikTok, because the TikTok girlies never lie about book trope. So that's where I'm going to source my next book from. I've looked up different books and I found a video on TikTok of a bunch of different ones, and there's 2 that I'm stuck between, which is Lightkeepers, which is kind of like a retelling of Rapunzel / Tangled, and the other one is The Cruel Prince, which is apparently major fairy tale vibes. As much as I want to read The Cruel Prince, and I do want to read that book at some point, I think Lightkeepers is more close to the actual trope that I chose, because it is a modern retelling of the like children's fairy tale of Rapunzel. So I think that's the one I'm gonna read. I didn't end up reading that much more of Lightkeepers yesterday because I procrastinated, so I'm reading it this morning. I left my tripod upstairs, so I'm currently holding my phone as best as I can, but I'm going to read. I'll give you an update when I'm, I guess, like midway through the book-ish, possibly a little bit further along, and I'll go get my tripod from upstairs so I can actually film myself reading. Just finished Lightkeepers. It was actually a really cute romance. It was darker than the original like Rapunzel / Tangled telling, and it's also set in obviously modern day. My overall rating for the book, I'm going to give it 4 stars because it was very quick to read. The writing was really nice to read as well. Quotes from the book, the cute romance that was there, the way that it told the story the exact same way as the originals but just modernised was also really nice to read. Tangled is one of my favourite Disney movies, like princess wise, so to have it like modernized is really nice, because I used to have all of the TikToks like in quarantine that would come up of like how Disney princesses would dress in like modern day, and I was just obsessed with it. So to have that of one of my favourite Disney princess movies in a book was really nice. And the song that I chose from Fearless that I think suits it, and I don't think it's necessarily unexpected, is The Best Day. Just from the backstory we have of the character that is Flynn Rider in this book, which you don't have in the Disney movie, which is really nice to also read from his point of view and get his backstory, but also from the romance of, obviously they spend this amazing night together in this book of doing different things, and it's like the best day they've had. But now I have to choose the book for Speak Now, and I chose a book genre for Speak Now, which was romantasy, which seems a little strange because none of the songs on Speak Now are exactly like fantasy wise. Like folklore, you'd expect like a fantasy type otherworld thing, because that's how Taylor wrote the album, was set in a different world, all like imaginary. But I think just the purple and the vibes of the Speak Now song, for me, I just relate it to a romantasy book. I have a couple of books in mind. One of them is The Cruel Prince. The other is the second part to House of Salt and Sorrows, which I read recently and I really enjoyed. And there's a few others, but I'm gonna look into it and then decide which one I want to read. I've looked into different romantasy books, and one of the romance fantasy books that I found, which is the one that I'm going to read, is The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. Well, and the Wings of Night, which is by Carissa Broadbent. It's actually the first book in a series. I don't know how long the series is though. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 books long. We'll see how. I like the first one. I'm further into the book now. It is quite a long book. It's nearly like 500 pages long. It's quite quick to read, like I'm 15% in, and it's meant to take me like 3 hours more to read the whole book. It's intriguing because this is the first fantasy book I've read where the main characters aren't human. Like the ones that I've read, they're like, the characters are human but they're in like fantasy worlds and stuff, whereas this one is about vampires, so that's interesting. It's kind of giving me like Vampire Diaries meets Hunger Games type vibes. So not much has happened per se yet, but I'm like 70 something pages in, so with a 500 page book I'm not expecting anything to happen like super quickly, because I'm still like learning certain words from their language, and you're still getting to know the concept of the book and the characters for who they are. So I'll probably talk back with you guys when I'm a bit further in and like things have picked up a bit. I'm now 40% way through the book. Since you guys last saw me in between the clips of me reading and stuff, which is probably how I edited this because it's how I edit most things as I talk, and then I put a clip of me reading and then I talk again. I have not been able to put this book down. There's so much going on, there's so much action going on, there's characters meeting characters, there's new elements being brought in. It's everything, and I'm obsessed. Like, some of the descriptions are very Damon Salvatore coded, and it just is Vampire Diaries meets Hunger Games in the best way possible. It's almost kind of like the fourth Harry Potter movie to a certain extent, which is one of my favourites out of the Harry Potter series, which it might be why I like this book so much. But it's that, just with vampires. So I'm going to continue reading and get further on. I don't think it will... Oh, that wasn't a nice noise. I don't think it will take me long to finish the book. I'm going to see how long I have my Kindle. I have 2 hours and 20 minutes left of reading, and it's currently... What time is it? Oh, 5 to 5. Halfway, or slightly over halfway through the book. I'm on part 5. I am eating this up. The romance, it's slowly burning. Slowly burning. The writing, everything about this book, I'm in love with it. I am in love with it. Yeah. Also, I got a case for my iPad, and I'm going to print like some things off to put in the back of it to decorate it. But yeah, I thought I'd give you an update on that as well as the book. This book. Serpent and the Wings of Night, I went through so many emotions. Like the last 15% of that book was so intense. Definitely a slow burn romance, and I was here for it. Like, I was here for it. The rating I gave The Serpent and the Wings of Night is a 5-star. It was everything I wanted. Like, it was, and maybe it's just like because of the things it reminded me of. Vampire Diaries, I love Vampire Diaries, and Twilight, and it's almost kind of like the 4th Harry Potter book with the Wizard Tournament, which has been my favourite Harry Potter film since I was really young. So it was everything I wanted, and I cannot flaw it in any way whatsoever. I've already downloaded the second book in the series on my Kindle because I want to read it. But the song that best describes this book from Speak Now is 100% without a doubt. There is literally no other song that could possibly describe the story and the book itself as Castles Crumbling. The song is just perfect to the book, in my personal opinion. But I would also say Enchanted from the side of the romance. But taking that out of it and looking at the book as a whole, it just has to be Castles Crumbling. The next era is Red, and for Red, my original idea was a book that has a breakup in it. However, looking into that, one, it's hard to find books that are known to have a breakup in it because a lot of people don't want to give spoilers out, but at the same time I also don't want to read a book where, especially a romance book, where I can't get too invested into the romance because I know a breakup's going to happen. So I'm going to look for books that have breakup in the title, and if I can't find one that I want to read, or I can't find one that I want to read, then I will look into different options and rethink the trope and book for the Red era. I found a book. Oh, wait. It's called The Breakup Pact. It's by Emma Lord. It came out pretty recently. It came out August 13th, 2024, so it's from earlier this month. So this is the one I'm gonna read for Red because I managed to find a book with breakup in the title. So I'm gonna start on this one. I am going to my nan's later to eat, so I'll see how far into the book I can get, but I'll give you updates as I go. It's got, the average rating is about a 3.5, so we'll see. I'm now just over halfway through the breakup pact, and things are picking up and it's getting more interesting and more intriguing, and definitely gaining more of my attention as I read it. So it's quite a short book, so it shouldn't take me much longer to finish. I finished the breakup pact finally yesterday. I got about halfway through the book and then I fell into a complete book slump because I just, for the life of me, could not get myself to read it. And I think it's because the book I read before this one, which was The Serpent and Wings of Night, I want to say, I hope I don't get that title wrong, it was a 5-star, and so the pacing of this book just seemed even slower. But I got myself to pick it up yesterday and I finished it, and when I picked it back up the pacing seemed really, really good. So I'm not 100% sure on how to rate the book, because before it was like a 2-star for me, just because it was doing like nothing but also something at the same time. Like the writing was good, but the storyline I also enjoyed. The downsides was just like the pacing and the writing I just really didn't enjoy, but then that might have been like tainted by the fact that the book I'd read before was a 5-star. After like finishing the book, I don't know why I keep saying like, after finishing the book, I was more content with the story. So I'm kind of stuck between like a 2.5-star and a 3-star. I think it's more of a 3-star because if I hadn't have read the book that I read before this one, I most likely would have enjoyed it a bit more. So I'm giving it a 3-star, and the book from the Red album I'm giving it, and I'm just going to preface this by saying I am technically cheating the rules of my own challenge, but there's 2 that fit it, which is The Last Time. There is 2 entire chapters that feel like the bridge in The Last Time. Just the constant like back and forth, not really listening to each other, not wanting to give each other up but knowing you're not good for each other type thing, and also Come Back Be Here. So I'm choosing 2 songs for this book, but it's my video, the challenge I came up with, so I feel like I can cheat my own rules. But the next era and final era of this part of the challenge is 1989, aka Taylor Swift's Pop Perfection album that is mostly based on friendship, which is why the trope storyline that I chose for this era is friendship and girlhood. Now, I didn't really know what book to choose, but I was talking to my sister about it, and she reminded me of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which she bought me in Portugal while she was there for Erasmus from the like oldest bookshop in the world. It has the stamp, I believe, somewhere. Yeah, there. It's official. But while the title of this definitely hints at romance because of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it does also, when you search up, mention an unexpected friendship, which is why I'm choosing this one for the 1989 era. It's the next day. I didn't read that much more of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo because when I picked it up, it was already like past midnight. So I read like a few chapters and then I just went to sleep. But I've tried to dress for 1989 because I have a lot of blue stuff in my wardrobe, so it's one of the easier eras for me to dress for because I actually have clothes available to dress for it. But I'm going to go downstairs to my office and read some more of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. 100 pages into the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is so good. The entire concept of it is amazing. I don't really know what I can say because I don't want to give spoilers away for anything, but the way that it's written, and it goes back and forth between time periods and point of views and perspectives and types of narratives and writing styles, like, I love this. I love this so much. I just finished the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I ended up tabbing quite a few quotes. This book, I think you could probably gather by the way that I was talking about it throughout the video, I've never read a book like this. It goes between two different timelines, one set in old Hollywood, which is Evelyn Hugo obviously telling her story, and the one set in present day, which is the reporter Monique and her life, and talking to Evelyn because obviously she's writing the story. I loved the timeline that was set in old Hollywood. The storyline completely felt true, like a real existing story, and I'm sure there are stories very similar to this that happened in real life with people that were in old Hollywood. All I want to do is recommend this book and have everyone in like my life that enjoys reading read this book. I just loved it so much. The writing in it, the fact that there was different language and words used that matched each era, how the whole story linked up, and the fact that it wasn't all writing, like there was news articles in here that made it like so much more fun to read. I'm trying to find one like this one. Things like that in the book that just added so much to the story and the storytelling. I definitely want to read more books from Taylor Jenkins because I just love this book so much. So obviously, inevitably, this is a 5-star read. 5 stars. I cannot fault it for anything. Quite honestly, I just can't fault it. But The Song of 1989, I had difficulty with this one because I feel like it fits the Red era in the sense of the song The Lucky One would be perfect for this, but we're in 1989, so I was stuck between a few different songs, and the one that I decided suits the whole storyline of our main character Evelyn Hugo the best throughout this entire book is I Know Places, because it's that having to hide from the camera's celebrity hint at like having to separate that from having to hide from the press of people you love. It just fits everything. So yeah, that is it for this video, which is part 1 of the Eras Tour reading challenge. Thank you guys so much for watching. Part 2 I will be working on shortly after this video goes up. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe and turn on the notifications down below to see other videos similar to this, and as per usual, all of my social medias are linked in the description below. Bye!